I, a 45-year-old woman, have a 27-year-old daughter who is a mother to 6 kids, ranging from twins to an infant, each with a different father. She receives child support from 2 of the fathers and is still with the third one for the past 5 years. My daughter works part-time, while her fiancé is a full-time chef. Due to getting evicted from their previous home, they've been living with my husband and me for a year and a half. They occupy the 2 upstairs bedrooms, which is quite cramped for 6 children. They frequently ask for financial assistance with phone bills, despite us not asking for any rent to help them save money for a new home, which I suspect they haven't been doing. Despite the noisy household and disrupted sleep due to attending to the children, I've never complained because I love my grandchildren and value family greatly. However, with all my children grown up and my youngest having moved out 4 years ago, my husband and I had plans to remodel our home. We didn't anticipate them staying for this long. On Christmas Eve, my daughter announced her 7th pregnancy, which filled everyone with excitement but left me with a sense of dread, knowing it meant another child in our already overcrowded house. A glance at my husband confirmed that he shared my feelings. After discussing it, we decided to approach my daughter and her boyfriend during dinner and give them a 2-month notice to find their own place. I expressed my regret, acknowledging the difficulty of the situation for all involved, but emphasized that the current living conditions were untenable. However, my daughter reacted emotionally, accusing me of abandoning her and her unborn child, claiming the time frame was unfair and insufficient. I reiterated my apology but stood firm, explaining that the situation was unsustainable for our household. I extended her deadline, fearing the prospect of legal action. But I had to set her straight. Court proceedings only allow for a 30-day grace period. However, her response was to accuse me of selfishness, claiming that my decision would render her grandchildren homeless. She even resorted to making a desperate plea on Facebook, seeking rental accommodations due to her pregnancy and purported lack of familial support. Am I the idiot here? It's mind-boggling. At the age of 27, with 7 children already, it's simply unsustainable, especially given her apparent lack of stability. Has she not considered the contraceptive options available, freely provided by organizations like Planned Parenthood? How can one continue to engage in intimacy without taking every possible precaution against conception? If you don't take decisive action now, mark my words, she'll soon surpass 10 children within the next 5 years, if not more. It's not just about another child. It's about her lack of respect for your household, your sacrifices, and your boundaries. It's doubtful she contributes much to the household chores or even towards groceries, aside from purchasing items for herself and her boyfriend. She needs to overhaul her life and start planning for the future, not just for herself but for the well-being of her children, who will undoubtedly face significant challenges ahead. It's disheartening to witness her squander her potential in such a manner. Frankly, everyone involved bears some responsibility in this situation. At 27, with 7 children from 3 different fathers, questions about your parenting choices arise. It's crucial to take action now. Failure to do so may result in a lifetime of responsibility. And regarding her empty threat of legal action, the courts require a rental agreement for any significant intervention. Hopefully, you haven't entered into such an agreement with her. Original poster. Your daughter's history of early pregnancy suggests a fundamental lack of understanding or disregard for contraceptive measures. Anyone who threatens legal action against a family member offering temporary accommodation likely never intended it to be a short-term arrangement. She needs a wake-up call and you need to establish boundaries with them. I, a 32-year-old male, have a buddy who's 33 and is marrying a girl that our friend group isn't particularly fond of. However, he loves her, so we support him. We've known for months that this would be a New Year's Eve wedding. Several months ago, my wife, some friends, and I assumed there would be alcohol at the wedding, especially considering the occasion. However, I found out yesterday that it's going to be a dry wedding, all because of his fiancée and her family. I asked my wife if she knew about this, and she said no. Naturally, I was angry. I texted the groom, my buddy, to confirm, and he indeed confirmed it. I expressed my frustration, telling him that this was something he should have informed us about long ago. Consequently, I told him that my wife and I wouldn't be attending, as we wanted to spend the night drinking. I then informed the rest of my friends about the situation, and the group chat erupted. This led to several more people backing out. None of us expected to spend New Year's Eve in this manner. The only ones who didn't back out were the 4 members of our 12-person group who were in the wedding. My buddy, the groom, reached out to me, expressing his anger. He's now overspending on catering, as there will be around 20 fewer guests showing up than planned, and all of this is happening last minute. I've been called an idiot, among other things, for leading the charge and people not attending the wedding. Edit. This information about it being a dry wedding was never communicated to us in the friend group, neither in person nor on the invitation. We assumed there would be alcohol, as our buddy drinks. I found out about this through a mutual friend who was also invited. Neither the bride nor the groom directly informed us about it. While I enjoy drinking and dislike dry weddings as much as the next guy, showing up to the wedding ceremony, spending an hour or two at the reception, and then getting blackout intoxicated, if that's an absolute must for you, is a possibility. Backing out last minute and making it clear that he's not worth 2 hours of sobriety seems like a drastic move. You're absolutely the idiot by miles and miles. Weddings are not just about drinking all night, as you suggested. They're about coming together to celebrate and support the couple embarking on a new journey together. It seems to me that your reluctance to attend has less to do with the wedding itself and more with your personal feelings toward the bride. Perhaps this was just a convenient excuse for you not to go. I couldn't agree more with the sentiment that if alcohol holds more importance for you than maintaining a friendship, it might be time for some serious introspection. And as for those so-called friends of the groom who prioritize getting intoxicated over being there for him on his special day, well, it's a disappointing reflection of their values. It's disheartening to see individuals in their 30s unable to set aside a night of drinking to support their friend's wedding. One would expect a bit more maturity and understanding at this stage of life. Frankly, it's astonishing and quite frankly, immature behavior. Beyond the immediate issue, this situation paints a larger picture of a group that lacks genuine support for one another. Instead of standing by each other, they engage in petty squabbles and backbiting. It's commendable that the groom had the courage to address the matter directly, especially considering the significant financial impact their actions had just days before the wedding. Now, shifting gears, let me share a personal story. My wife, Lisa, who is 29, and I, at 30, have been happily married for 2 years. Both of us work and, as of yet, have no children. However, recently, our financial situation took an unexpected turn when Lisa's beloved dog, Mango, who is now our dog, though originally belonging solely to Lisa, required urgent surgery costing around $7,000. This unforeseen expense has put a strain on our finances, forcing us to reassess our budget and priorities. I decided to take out a loan to cover a significant portion of the surgery expenses for our pet under my name. The loan terms were favorable, with no interest if we managed to pay it off within a year. So, we crafted a monthly budget to ensure we could meet this goal, allocating payments from our joint account. However, recently, my younger brother Johnny, aged 27, reached out to me with a request for financial assistance. He needed $2,000 to cover legal fees for a custody battle with his child's mother. Johnny has struggled with addiction and mental health issues in the past, making him hesitant to receive financial support from our family. Despite this, he's made significant progress in the past year, maintaining steady employment and staying clean. Knowing his troubled upbringing and the challenges he's faced, I felt compelled to help him this time. While I have a policy of not expecting repayment when lending money to family, I decided to take on extra work shifts to raise the funds for Johnny's request. After covering his needs, I still had some surplus, which I intended to put towards our monthly pet loan payments. When I shared this plan with my partner Lisa, however, she reacted with frustration. She argued that all available funds should be directed towards the pet loan, rather than being divided between our pet's expenses and assisting my brother. In my view, we had already established a budget to manage the pet loan effectively, ensuring it would be paid off within the interest-free period. Furthermore, I considered Mango, our pet, to be a shared responsibility, as we both contribute to her care and well-being. Despite concerns raised by others about the cost of Mango's surgery due to her advanced age, Lisa and I were united in our decision to proceed with the treatment, demonstrating our commitment to her welfare. While I understood Lisa's concerns about our financial obligations, I felt it was important to support my brother during his time of need. I proposed to Lisa the idea of taking on additional shifts at work this month to expedite the payment of our pet loan, allowing us to assist Johnny in covering his legal fees to secure visitation rights with his son. However, Lisa's reaction surprised me. Rather than appreciating the gesture, she appeared irked by the notion of aiding Johnny in any capacity. It baffles me why she views the $7,000 veterinary bill for our 14-year-old dog as a necessity but questions my decision to send $22,000 to my brother for a similar cause. Despite Lisa's disapproval, I proceeded to transfer the funds to Johnny so he could settle his legal expenses. However, this act of generosity seems to have landed me in the doghouse quite literally, as I find myself relegated to sleeping on the couch. Yet, I fail to comprehend why my actions are deemed so outrageous. Am I truly the idiot here? While I acknowledge the sentiment behind wanting to support my brother, perhaps I erred in directly providing him with the funds. It's plausible that Lisa's apprehension stems from concerns about how the money will be utilized, especially considering the magnitude of the sum involved. By handing over such a substantial amount, I inadvertently created a situation ripe for temptation, potentially jeopardizing Johnny's progress, particularly if the funds are not used as intended. In hindsight, it's clear that such financial decisions should have been subject to discussion and mutual agreement between Lisa and me. While I may have acted with good intentions, it's imperative to recognize that household finances are a shared responsibility. The discrepancy between our perspectives on financial matters underscores the importance of open communication and collaborative decision-making within our relationship. After all, we are a team, and our actions should reflect that unity. Supporting someone who has achieved 1 year of sobriety and is actively striving to improve their life is commendable. It demonstrates empathy and a willingness to help those in need. While some may prioritize spending on pets differently, the original poster's choice to allocate funds toward their brother's legal fees reflects their personal values and priorities. Moreover, the fact that the original poster is covering the costs independently, without dipping into shared finances, showcases their dedication to this cause. On the other hand, the situation with the cousin's leukemia diagnosis presents a delicate dilemma. While it's undoubtedly a challenging time for the family, it's important to consider the dynamics of the wedding day. It's a milestone event for the original poster, symbolizing their commitment to their partner and celebrating their union with loved ones. While it's understandable that the aunt and cousin desire inclusion and support during this difficult period, it's also essential to respect the original poster's wishes and boundaries regarding their wedding ceremony. The original poster's reluctance to alter their wedding plans to accommodate the cousin's request doesn't stem from selfishness but rather from a desire to maintain the integrity and significance of their special day. It's natural for the original poster to want to prioritize their own happiness and comfort on such an occasion. Additionally, the lack of a close relationship between the original poster and the cousin further complicates the matter, as it may not feel authentic to incorporate the cousin into a pivotal moment of the ceremony. I conveyed to her that I required additional time for contemplation, but she opted to take her grievances to Instagram, where she posted cryptic messages clearly aimed at me. Seeking impartial perspectives, I consulted my friends, who offered mixed opinions. Some suggested that allowing her to walk down the aisle would be a gracious gesture, affording her an experience she might otherwise miss. However, I question whether I would be in the wrong for declining her request. After all, if she wishes to partake in such a tradition, why must it be at my wedding? I'm inclined to agree. It does seem like an unreasonable demand. Denying her request was the right decision. Moreover, I fear that acquiescing to her wishes might embolden her to overstep further boundaries, perhaps even donning a wedding dress herself. It's crucial to maintain perspective. It's my special day, and she shouldn't seek to overshadow or manipulate it for her own gain. I'll go a step further and suggest that this insistence may not solely stem from my cousin's desires but rather from my aunt's longing to witness her daughter marry. It's unfortunate that she's attempting to fulfill this desire at my expense. On a separate note, my sister recently faced a dilemma involving her tween daughter, who is the child of her extramarital affair partner. When her husband discovered the truth, he decided he no longer wanted to raise the child, prompting my parents to reach out to me for assistance in caring for her given their advanced age and inability to provide adequate care. I was inclined to take her under our roof, but my wife expressed reservations. With our own child to raise, she believed our focus should remain on her upbringing rather than taking on the responsibility of another. Reluctantly, I had to reach out to her biological father and request that he assume custody. It's been several months since this transpired, yet I still grapple with a sense of guilt. I haven't reached out or visited my niece since then. Interestingly, my parents seem to lay blame on my wife for the decision, rather than directing it towards my sister, the child's mother. Moreover, there are legal complexities surrounding parental rights that must be addressed before considering such a monumental decision. Ultimately, the welfare of the child should be the foremost consideration. It's heartbreaking to witness the child's plight, seemingly tossed between familial obligations without any semblance of stability or security. One can't help but wonder if there's genuine love and concern for her well-being amidst this chaos. Considering the legal framework, perhaps involving child protective services would be prudent given the apparent neglect and abandonment by both parents. It's disheartening to witness the child caught in the crossfire of her parents' irresponsibility. In retrospect, I don't consider myself the idiot in this situation. While the decision not to take in my niece may seem callous to some, it was a choice made in consideration of our existing family dynamics. The true fault lies with my sister and her husband, who callously disregarded the well-being of their daughter for the sake of their own convenience and pride.